Good. All right. Hey everyone, Ian with Sidas, bringing you another Sunday with Sidas. Today I'm here with Colin Cook, who is owner and operator of Peak. What is it? Is it Peak Recovery and
Peak
Health?
Recovery and Health Center.
Yeah. On top of that, he's probably one of the best amateur triathletes for his age group in the country. He's a coach. On top of plenty of other things that I'll let him introduce. So, Colin, thanks for joining. And yeah, feel free to introduce yourself.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. I'm not quite sure I'll go with top age grouper in the country here, but I like to give it my all. But yeah, so I am, I like to say a pretty competitive age group triathlete. I'm 38, so I'm in the 35 to 39 age group. But um, I've done my fair share of Ironmans, but I do own Peak Recovery and Health Center, which we can talk about, which really focuses on athlete and recovery and just general wellness. And then I do have a triathlon coaching business, and I've got 4 kids, 7 and under. So adds another fun element to training in life. So
Yeah,
I don't have much trouble covering the day and spending the time of the day. So
yeah, staying busy for
it's a
sure.
challenge every day, but I love it.
Yeah. Awesome. So I guess just because like we know each other, I know you're preparing to race for Ironman Florida, which as of now I still think is being held. So kind of how have you trained throughout this COVID world and like stay motivated when like every other race basically known to man has been like canceled or postponed? So how did you find the motivation to keep going and even knowing that Florida could potentially follow suit with like most races?
Totally. Yeah, it's been an interesting year to say the least. I mean, I started off, really was actually even planning to do an Ironman this year. Then when COVID kind of kicked in, and I guess a little more background on me is I do have a history with drugs and alcohol. So I got into endurance sports really to help get myself back on track. I did play hockey in college, but partying became a bigger priority for me. And to me, when the races kind of started getting canceled, sure, I wasn't happy about it, but it's about the lifestyle for me. So, I continue to train. Did a boatload of Zwift riding, and we do now. I also run. That's right. I'm the president of Northeast Multisport, the local triathlon club in the greater Nashua, New Hampshire area. And so we do Zoom and Zwift rides every Tuesday and Thursday morning. We'll probably pick that up to the weekends too once it starts to get really cold here. But we've just doing everything we can to try and keep a social environment going as best as you can in this, and doing different things. I mean. I had heard of the Six Gaps ride up in Vermont, which is a pretty epic 130 miler with 12, 13,000 feet of climbing. And
Yeah.
I didn't think I'd do that anytime soon, but me and my buddies went up and did that, and
Yeah.
had a blast with that, and just
Yeah.
found some different things. I did a half Everest ride last Saturday, and there's so much out there that we can do on top of racing. So to me, the motivation hasn't really dwindled at all. I've just managed to find ways to focus on different things that I am able to do.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I've only done a few of
But
those
yeah,
Vermont climbs.
with Ironman, yeah, they're fun.
Yeah. Never done all six together. I don't know
Yeah,
but
it
yeah.
was super hot day too. It was pretty epic.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure. Um, awesome. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think you probably hit a lot of things that a lot of endurance athletes face. Is you know it is a lifestyle. I feel like, and it's not just motivated by racing for a lot of people, and so it is just a way of life. It's just people can't turn it off. It's just even if there's nothing there to do, you'll find ways to use up that energy. So
Yeah, no, exactly right. Exactly. Yeah, totally.
um, yeah, so obviously owning the recovery center and stuff. How did COVID affect you for that? and kind of how are things been since we're, yeah, like, I wouldn't say things are a little better, but we're not out of the woods yet. But
A little better.
obviously,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, how is things going with that, and how have you had to adjust kind of your game plan for your company to follow suit until
Yeah.
guidelines?
So we've had significant challenges, to say the least. We were closed for 3.5 months. During that time, we decided to relocate. So we were in Nashua, New Hampshire. We're now in Manchester, New Hampshire, and we're inside. We were kind of in just a small shopping kind of center, and now we're inside of a gym. It's called Granite State Fitness, kind of CrossFit style gym. And that was definitely not the plan
Yeah.
pre-COVID, but I've had some real struggles with my landlord, and just financially, it's been a real kick in the nuts. We've
Yeah,
been
right.
really struggling. And,
Yeah.
I still not even 100% confident we're going to make it through it. To be perfectly honest, it's been struggle, and people are scared to come in and leaving and being around other people, which is understandable. So
Right.
it's definitely affected our clientele, and the number of people we're seeing, and ultimately our revenue. So it's been a grind,
Yeah.
but at the same time, I'm feeling like it's hopefully going to be a blessing in disguise, where I like our new location and being part of the gym. I think I'm encouraged, and do feel like we're going to work our way out of this.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think you should make it through. Just looking and knowing the services you guys offer, it's probably one of the few places in the Northeast that has that range of recovery and options. Um, with that being said, maybe do you want to go through some of the more popular ones you have, and kind of why it's important, how they work, why athletes should potentially look into doing these types of treatments and all that?
Yeah, I'd love to. Yeah. So we do. I really only know of a handful of places across the country that have all the different modalities that we have under one roof here. But I'll start with cryotherapy, if people aren't familiar with that. So that's the leverage of cold. The whole body cryotherapy uses nitrogen to generate those cold temperatures. So it gets down as low as negative 230 degrees when you're inside the chamber. So you're only in there for 3 minutes, and a lot of people are intimidated when they hear that temperature. But
Yeah.
I would say 90+% of people, when they get out, they say it wasn't nearly as cold as they were expecting it to be. It gets cold, don't get me wrong, but
Right.
it's a different experience because of the nitrogen and not actual ice being directly on your body. What that's doing really is it's activating the fight or flight response. So all your blood is rushing to your core to protect your major organs, and that can activate some adrenaline and endorphins to naturally help heal the body. But really, the process is just getting kicked off when you go in the machine. You come out, now all your blood needs to recirculate through the body, and it can increase the proteins inside the bloodstream and just really reduce inflammation. So, I mean, we've got an awesome video of a gal that did her first 100-mile ultra marathon, and she literally, the day after the race, she was on crutches. She was so sore. And 36 hours, I believe, after that, she came in and she did a whole body cryotherapy session, and she literally was just walking around like normal after, and she just could not believe how much better she felt and how much it did to help reduce the inflammation. So it's pretty cool. And I mean, we got people, beyond athletes too, with, back problems, aches and pains in the shoulders, whatever it may be, that really get a lot of relief from that, just from getting in the cold for a few minutes. So it's pretty amazing. And then in addition to that, we also have what we call isolated cryotherapy. So it's a different machine, but it allows us to apply the cold directly to a specific location. So, maybe you banged up your ankle, or you got some kind of Achilles or calf issue going on. Certainly the whole body could benefit that, but can apply the cold directly to that location, and that can really help to, again, reduce that inflammation and help make that part of the body feel a lot better. So we get a lot of athletes that come in to take advantage of that when they get injured.
Yeah. That's awesome.
In addition to that, the next one that I'd probably recommend to our athlete friends would be it's a mouthful, but it's called our photobiomodulation bed,
Oh
and
wow.
or PBM for short. And it's Yeah, it's so what it is it's light therapy. So it's primarily red, but it also has green light in it, and the LEDs actually penetrate through your skin. And not to get too sciencey here, but it can basically help with the efficiency and sometimes rejuvenate the cells and the mitochondria inside of our cells. So, like actually, the U.S. Olympic track team has one that they swear by that helps them both from a recovery perspective and just a performance perspective. They've done a lot of different tests, and they've even had some. Actually, did one study with some. It was some collegiate football coaches, and they were all more weightlifting, but
Right.
they all kept their training the same, and they did. I think it was an 8-week test where they did all their training the same, and they did a max rep where all of them went up at least 5%, some of them up to 10% just from using light therapy a couple times
Oh,
a week.
wow. Yeah, that's huge,
So it's
especially
pretty cool.
yeah, knowing what they're lifting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So, but it's pretty incredible what and when you're getting to the higher levels, kind of the possibilities are endless. But it's a really great machine that killer combo for athletes is they'll go into the whole body and they'll get their cold on, and then they'll go right into the ppm bed, and that can actually, with the heat, it does get a little bit warm in there. That will increase the circulation faster and get that blood flowing faster, so it can really help to speed up the benefits in the recovery process.
Yeah, that's awesome.
There's
Yeah.
that one, and then the couple other ones real quick. So if people are familiar with floating, it's called.
Yeah.
So what it is it's about 10 inches of water in a pod or a small room, and it's got over 1,000 pounds of Epsom salt in it, so it's extremely buoyant. So what you do is you go in there and you literally just float for an hour, right? So, you know, no significant others, no work, no
Yeah.
grades. It's just you and your mind and allowing it to decompress. So it's really good from a stress and anxiety perspective and helping out there. But it's also really good because from a recovery perspective, because our body actually prefers to absorb magnesium through the skin, and that's not something that most people do very much these days. So it allows us to really get that magnesium that can speed up recovery and muscle soreness for sure, much better. So I really say anybody for the most part can benefit from a float. It's really great, and probably my favorite thing to do at the center is to watch people coming out of the float, and sometimes you can literally just see like the stress and the difference
Yeah.
in their
Yeah.
face just from that single session.
Right. Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. That's crazy.
And then
Yeah.
obviously
Sure.
we have, for most people, maybe familiar with the compression therapy, like the Normatec boots, or we
Yeah.
use recovery pump. So we have the different legs, pants, the arm one, all kinds of different stuff there to just increase the blood flow and the circulation inside that area that can also speed up recovery.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. Sounds like you have a lot going on and a lot of options for people, no matter if you're an
Yeah.
elite athlete or just someone that tweaked your back
Well,
or
exactly.
did anything like that. Yeah.
Right, and that's one thing I'll clarify is you don't need to be an athlete or even an elite athlete to really take advantage of this stuff. Everyday people are seeing tremendous benefit from just how they're feeling overall, but especially if you're an athlete, it can really enhance things.
Yeah. Absolutely. Awesome. So yeah, like another thing I want to ask you, especially because like you're a business owner, have 4 kids under 7, endurance athlete. How do you find the time in the day to make sure that everything that's important to you gets the time it needs? And like, what's your like best advice to people who are in like similar situations, who are trying to like figure out ways to prioritize? Endurance training takes 20 hours, and then if you have a kid, that's 2 full-time jobs in one. So, how do you kind of handle all that, and what advice would you give people in similar situations?
Totally. So I'll say it's definitely a grind, and every day is kind of a challenge, but at the same time, I love that challenge.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, how am I going to get all this stuff in every day? But the biggest thing to me, I think, is planning. So, you have to, I'm always thinking, kind of and not too far ahead, but a day in advance. And like, when I go to bed the night before, I always pretty much know what my plan of attack is for the next day. Life's going to happen. It's definitely not going to be perfect. And I could show you, my training logs, and there's a plenty of red and yellow and non-green workouts in there.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that really I think is helped me to be successful, is that I don't dwell on that too much and think oh my gosh, my training has to be perfect all the time. If I miss this workout, I might as well not even go to Ironman Florida, right?
Right. Yeah.
A lot of people get so mindset that you have to get everything in, and you end up causing more stress by doing that than if you just say, all right, shit happens, you got to deal with it and just take the day. The other thing I am a big fan of is getting things done in the morning. If I usually get up around 4 a.m. and get going on things, and sometimes I got to wait for the pool to open till 5, but I'll get right into my training. And life is always going to happen. There's always going to be things that come up during the day, and so the more that you try and do during the day or later, or even in the evening, for me, we had kind of an unwritten rule at my house that once the business day is over, that training is pretty much done for the day. There's a few exceptions to that, but
Right.
in
Yeah.
general, when I get home, that's it. I'm trying. I may do some work and things, but I'm with the family and trying to be there with them. So,
Yeah.
you're gonna have those days that sleep's gonna be deprived, and you got to recognize that. And if you wake up in the morning and you're totally garbage, then what's the point of going and beating yourself up even more? If you're not even going to be able to have a quality workout. So you just got to really be mindful of what's going on, inside you, and respecting, that things aren't going to be perfect, like I said, and that if you got to tone it back, you got to skip the workout to get a little more sleep, then do it.
Yeah.
I do definitely take advantage of our services. That is definitely a huge perk of owning the center.
Yeah.
Any little window I get, I mean, I'm pretty religious about getting into the photobiomodulation bed, and I try to float at least every other week, sometimes once a week. Like, especially now with my training being a little bit higher, I like to get in there a little bit more. And it's hard because you're training more, so there's less time to recover, but that's really when you need to try and prioritize those things. So I like to try and work windows to doing that, to make sure I'm staying on top of those things.
Yeah. That's awesome. No, that's great advice. I think I know I struggle with planning and
Yeah.
but yeah. Kind of putting your coaching hat on now, kind of like what advice would you give someone who is trying to get into endurance sports, and they're kind of fighting that? I think a lot of people fight, like, should I get a coach? Should I not get a coach? So kind of what advice would you give people, maybe like benefits of coaching, maybe benefits of, I don't want to say not coaching, but just kind of like someone's trying to get into like Ironman, like what's the best plan of
Sure.
action according to you? Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Well, there's a couple things there. I mean, one, nobody knows your body better than you. So, I really encourage every athlete I coach as well, to be part of the process, right?
Yeah.
I say it's never a dictatorship where I say, here's what you're going to do, and that's it, or the highway. It's
Right.
always got to be communicative and, respecting what's going on. So, like I said, I don't expect even my athletes to have all green training and things. We try to make it as accommodating to their schedule and making sense so that you can get everything in, but it's not going to happen. So, but especially if you're a newcomer, I think that's probably a place that most people make the biggest mistakes. Is they're either trying to do too much or they're not doing enough, and they're they just don't have the experience. Where if you've got a good coach that has experience with that, they can really help you with that. The other thing too is I feel, I mean, one, just from a accountability perspective, I like to joke that sometimes I'm just a glorified babysitter, right?
Yeah.
Because you really are just making sure that people are doing what they need to do,
Yeah.
and I'm always big on, the motivation really needs to come from you. If you're telling me, which I've had people coach clients come to me sometimes and say like, I need you to motivate me. And
Yeah.
I'll say, sorry, I'm not a motivator, right?
Right.
I'm here to guide you and help you to figure out, what motivate, maybe I'll help you find what it is that you need to do to be motivated, but that motivation is going to come from inside you. So, I mean, if you're, struggling to find the right goals and things like that, hopefully a coach can definitely help you with that. But, for somebody getting in the sport, hopefully they're doing it for the right reasons and they really want to be doing it, right? So,
Yeah.
if, that's a huge piece of it. Let's see here. I mean, yeah, then I guess, just really from a confidence perspective, I think for people that are going into the unknown when they don't know what to expect, having somebody on the other side that can tell you, here's what you're probably going to feel like, or here's some of the
Yeah.
challenges that you have. That should be huge confidence building for people and really help them to get to the start line with hopefully the confidence that they can do their best, and a strategy in place hopefully that's best for them to execute on that day. So those would probably be the biggest things I'd say that
Yeah.
would benefit from a coach. But some people got to figure it out and learn the hard way. I've definitely had plenty of people that have come to me after they have a disastrous first Ironman or just aren't getting what they want out of the sport, and definitely help people that way too. So you know, again, I'm really about the lifestyle, and I'm pretty passive when it comes to pushing my coaching on people. It's like do what makes sense for you. If I can
Yeah.
help you, awesome. But if you're happy and you're just living a good lifestyle, then I'm all for it, man.
Yeah. No, I think that's a great point. Is you know, I do feel like people think when you get a coach that motivation will automatically just come.
Right? Yeah.
But yeah, if you don't have it or you're trying to get it from someone else, it's probably not going to be a good fit.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, we mentioned you're gearing up for Ironman Florida in the next few weeks. So kind of going into that, what are your expectations? What are your goals? What are you focusing on for, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
for a
It's
unique race experience, I'm sure.
right. It is. It's definitely been an interesting kind of. I always say every Ironman, every big race is a journey, and this journey's been unique. I was doing some bigger actually training volume earlier in the year, and with the forecast of Ironmans not all getting canceled and things, I did sign up for that one specifically because it's in Florida, and I thought it had a chance of going off.
Yeah.
And but even in September, I actually did the Live Free and Try half in September, and then I did the Sunapee Triathlon, which is Olympic. And I was kind of planning to call it a season
Yeah.
after Sunapee. But I got an email from Ironman saying, "Hey, looks like we're gonna try and do this." They like moved the transition already, and it like really showed like they were legitimately trying to make it happen.
Yeah.
So I said, "All right, I guess I'm gonna have to
Yeah.
ramp up here." So
Yeah.
my training's been a little bit different than I probably would have done, without pre-COVID or whatnot, and from a training load perspective. But I still am relatively low volume and more intensity just from a time perspective. I just don't have the time to
Right.
log a ton of volume. So I don't think it's affected me too much. But yeah, I'm super excited. I mean, I feel like at this point, I'm 95+% sure it's going to happen. Got everything in place. They did, Ironman Arizona 70.3 happened over the
Yeah.
weekend. There's a lot of positive going on with how they're doing things, and I think it's going to happen. So I'm excited. But contrary to maybe I shouldn't say this because I'm not huge on having clients having time goals, but
Yeah.
or it's got to be a moving target a little bit. But
Yeah.
I'm really going down there for one reason, and that's to go under 9 hours.
Oh wow. That'd be
I
awesome.
I
Yeah.
still I've not gone sub 9, so I really want to do that. And
Yeah.
with my family growing, I'm not sure how many Ironmans I have in me in my prime here. So
Yeah.
I think this is hopefully going to be my crack to take care of that here. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's the big goal for me.
Nice. Yeah. Florida's a good course
So
for that goal.
yeah, it is. It is also that. So, but even I will say one other tidbit of advice: people that are trying to achieve their best. I mean, I'm a huge proponent of race your race, and don't worry about what anybody else is doing.
Yeah.
maybe, depends on the distance of the race, but when you get towards the tail end of in a triathlon, the run, you want to see where you're at placement wise, and change your strategy a little bit before that, or because of that, go for it. But if you're comparing yourself or worried about what other people are doing, on the bike or any other time, even in the first half of the run, I can almost guarantee you're not going to end up with the best result that is, you're capable of.
Yeah.
So, um, for me, I do have a strong run. So there's been many times I think I've been in 11th, 12th place off the bike and still won my age group. And,
Yeah.
so do focus on your thing, do your thing. And that's really what's going to give you your best placement, as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't get sucked into that
Right.
first
Especially when
mile
Kona slots are flying,
start. Yeah.
everybody's so worried about that. And,
Yeah.
it just usually doesn't work out very well when you're going with that strategy.
Yeah. No, not at all. What's your PR? So if you're trying 9 hours, under 9.
So I did do 9:06 in Tremblant last year.
Oh yeah,
So
it's
I
a hard
think
course
it's,
too.
that's a pretty hilly course.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like it's definitely within reach, but, you don't know. I mean, and,
Yeah.
I actually, technically I've gone under 9 hours in a couple of races, but they've had shortened swim. So, those don't count, so
Yeah. So
on
it's
a
full
legitimate
Ironman.
full,
Yeah.
Ironman course, I still
Yeah.
haven't done it yet. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
So, we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. It's in there. Yeah, for sure. Doable. We kind of talked about it. You're an amateur, and just because I'm in the sport and know you, um, you definitely have, had the opportunity to go pro, if you will. So kind of what like why have you stayed an amateur? Are you thinking about going pro at any time, or is racing amateur kind of just where you want to be and don't have any any aspirations to go to pro?
Yeah, sure. So actually, I'll give a plug for my podcast. It's actually called Age Grouper for Life.
Yeah.
And the big thing is, I've qualified a couple times. I could have taken my pro card and I chose not to. And really, for me, a couple reasons. I mean, honestly, if I race pro, I'd get my butt kicked. It's a
Yeah.
different race
Yeah.
in the professional. You have to be a really good swimmer. I'm a decent swimmer, but there's so much more tactics that go on in the swim and on the bike, whereas it's not really necessarily your individual race. You're making sure you're holding that gap or whatever it may be. So I don't, honestly, I don't think I do very well as a pro, even if I ramped up my training and went for it.
Yeah.
But I actually don't think I'd enjoy the sport as much if I raced professional with the volume and things that they put in. I put in, I do consider it lower volume, but it's still plenty of volume, enough
Yeah.
for me, with everything else I got going on. And it's just for, a guy with 4 kids and now in his late 30s, it just doesn't make sense. And I got enough challenges in my life without trying to battle the
Yeah.
professionals.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, I mean, I guess my last thing is just like anything you want to say. I know there's going to be various people watching this, athletes, non-athletes. So, like, any advice or any tips you want to give anyone, yeah, that'd be great.
Sure. Follow your heart, and do what makes sense and is motivating. We talked about motivation a little bit to you. Like, I've literally canceled coaching and told like a client not to do a race before because like he was really dreading it, he wasn't enjoying it, and so I was like, what's the point?
Yeah.
So I think that a lot of people kind of get caught up in just doing it to do it, whatever that is, that endeavor. And if you're a long time person that is into it, but you're just not into it at that time, like, respect that,
Yeah.
and do something that you are focused on. Life's too short to be spending too much time and focusing on something that you're not enjoying. So I mean, is there going to be, especially in triathlon endurance events, is there going to be hard times? Of course there is, but
Yeah.
and I enjoy that piece of it and looking back and battling through those kind of things. But you got to follow the passion, and if you do that, I think you'll be successful with what you do.
Yeah. Perfect. Well, yeah, thanks, Colin. I appreciate your time, and yeah, looking forward to seeing how you do in Florida, and good luck and crush it out there.
All right, right on, man. Appreciate you having me.
All right, thank you.